Honestly, really didn't think about it.
It's good time.
Check that microphone. Check over. Check it how. It's like speak into. I mean, it's not doing anything.
Yeah,
It is? Yeah? Keep talking. I mean, how long do you want me to keep talking? There's only so
Go
long
on
I
for
can.
forever.
Not really, no. Listen, it is
Yeah,
like
it's late. I'm so glad we didn't bring
10:20 something. I have 3 brain cells left.
That's the one thing
Ooh.
they hear.
It kind of works.
Hello. Hello.
Chick. That one's a lot louder.
We can just yell.
Thank you guys so much for coming. That was awesome.
I don't know what to do.
I have shown this movie across the country, 9 different states. It's gone to, I think it's 9 festivals at this point. And we had a world premiere with 120 people. We have 109 tonight, and you guys were the best crowd ever. So thank you guys so much. You guys were the loudest by far, so thank you. Thank you so much. But yeah, this movie is very special because Inner Space Cavern does not let people film there. We've had big time filmmakers try to go and make movies here. One of them, Robert Rodriguez, if you know him. They told him no, and this was a multi-million-dollar movie. They told us yes because every single person in this movie is a tour guide at Inner Space Cavern. There is no actors whatsoever in this movie, and they trust us, so that is how this movie was made. And I am very proud of these guys because they have probably never acted before, right?
I've lied a couple of times.
Yeah. So I think they did an amazing job. What do you guys think? Yeah. Thank you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and start the Q&A. Like I said, we have a ton of stories. So if anybody has any questions, we would love to answer them. So I have an assistant that's gonna help me with this. Where is he? There you are. Thank you, James. So whoever has a question, you can raise your hand, and James will go and hand over the microphone. Thank you.
Man, I'd like to point out, this room isn't that big, is it?
It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Probably just shout. Oh, that one.
I'm in the middle, so I'm just gonna hold on to this awkwardly.
So my question is, was it creepy being down there? Because even though you're like making a movie, it still seemed like being in that cave in the dark would be creepy.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
You want to share some nightmares?
Yeah, I mean, there was times where we got kind of freaked out about stuff. So, can you hear me, by the way, from this mic?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, one of the scenes, the one toward the end where it's just Enzo and Brooke, the two last characters, where they fall asleep. That scene, we were shooting in there, and in the movie, you hear those footsteps, where they hear the footsteps. And when we were filming, we actually heard footsteps.
That were not us.
That were not us, and we went to go investigate, and there was nobody there. And it was almost the same thing. It was like crunching on the rocks, and we could hear it across the hallway. And it freaked us out a little bit, but besides that.
Can I add? This was filmed at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
There was no one else down there. We were locked in the cave. So we don't really know what that was. So that's lovely. You got something
Is
there?
my turn now?
Yeah, I guess it's your turn. Here, there you go.
I was legitimately afraid. My scene towards the end of my life in this movie where my flashlight goes out, I'm looking into the darkness in the cave. So if I sound afraid in my voice, it's because I was very afraid.
So overall, yes, we did have some freakouts. Any other questions?
So that's good.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you come up with the location. I mean, how did you find that or research, or was it something you're familiar with, or?
Well, yes, I am a tour guide, a part-time tour guide at Inner Space Cavern.
Oh, okay.
So I know the whole cave, or almost the whole cave. So I had the location. So I thought, why not use it? You know, when I had the inspiration to make a movie, I kind of sat down and just kind of thought about it, and it was almost the first thing that came to mind. Is like, where else am I gonna have such an awesome location? You know, so I just started writing, just thinking about that. And whenever you're down there, I mean, you get a creepy feeling when you're just by yourself in that dark area. I mean, it's good inspiration. So that's kind of where it came from. And when I was writing, I know all the rooms, so I pictured every single thing that was shot, or almost everything. If you know the cave, the stuff that you saw makes no sense. It really, all of that you saw is right by the regular pathway with the concrete and the lights and all that. We just made it look like it was really far away, and I hope I did that okay, because I wanted it to look like they were really far in the cave, like a mile away. So that was the whole goal. But we were always next to the lights and all that, so I kind of always had that in my head. So I know the location, and I just had to use it. So.
What inspired you to film a horror movie?
My parents let me watch horror films as a 5-year-old. So you can thank them for being here. So I've always loved horror films, and even when I was little, I would always say that I wanted to be a filmmaker. So I've always had a huge passion for horror films, and I don't know if anybody's heard of, it's an independent movie. It's called Hatchet. There's a Hatchet series.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One person.
One person knows it. So that, when I saw that when it came out in 2007, I saw that movie and I was like, this is what I want to do. It had you know, the scares, the blood, and the comedy as well. I love the mixture of the horror and the comedy, as long as the comedy doesn't really interfere with the horror aspect. So I love that, and that's where I get the inspiration from, is that.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes.
I don't need a microphone.
I know. I figured. Okay, go ahead.
Perfect representation of the Midnight Game. Everything went
Thank
so
you.
flawlessly.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that it is an urban legend, the Midnight Man. I wanted to make a kind of a movie off of that in a way. Also, I kind of mixed that with Slender Man. I'm sure you guys noticed that. But I wanted to kind of mix the two characters together, make one, and kind of make it my own, put a spin on it. There had never been a Slender Man movie until the middle of filming. The trailer came out to Slender Man right when we were filming. We're like, damn it. Of course, now everybody's going to think we copied that. But thank you.
Yes, proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
So, how long did it take you from the start of filming throughout editing to complete the movie?
It was 14 months in the making. Part of it was writing it, and then the filming part was filmed over a course of 3 months. It was from March to like June, the end of March to the beginning of June last year. But it wasn't all throughout the months. It was 23 nights scattered throughout those, and we would film from like 6 p.m. to sometimes midnight, 1 in the morning. So
23 long
23
ass
long
nights.
nights of filming. And I mean, that cave, a lot of people think caves are cold. This one's not. It's very hot, it's very humid. So we were always sweaty and nasty, and by the end of the night, and we're just tired, and everybody's like, in the movie, there's a lot of people running in there, so they get tired, and then people were getting hurt. Like I said at the beginning, you know, he hit his head really hard. If you've seen the blooper on Facebook that I post all the time, he got it pretty good. But everybody was getting hurt. People were falling. I mean, there was a time where I was doing one of those backward shots where the characters are running toward me, and I'm running backwards down this skinny hallway, and there's 2 crew members running behind me as well in tandem. One is holding the light to light up the shot, and the other one's holding the 50-pound battery to light that light. So there's 3 people running backwards in a skinny cave, and we kind of misjudged how the pathway turned, and we just went crashing into the wall, and I scraped up my entire side. So stuff like that. By the end of the night, we were like, I'm so done with this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Can we just stop?
And then we'd show up the next day.
We show up the next day. But there was a running joke on set because it was so difficult and we were so done. I mean, this was by like day 20 of filming. There was a joke where if anybody asks you for a sequel, you punch them in the throat. So we're not doing this again. But ever since that, it was just in the moment. To me, I love this. This is so awesome, and I love the response that it's getting like tonight. And there is going to be another one made. I don't know when, but I'm in the process of it. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the next project. You're welcome. But who says you're coming back? You're dead, man. So.
I know you're gonna hassle me about something.
Or are you?
No, I'm dead. Let me
you?
die. Please. I can only take so many blows to the head before actual brain damage sets in.
Oh man. All right. Other questions?
I got one more.
Okay.
Okay, it's not a question, but I absolutely also love no jump scares. It was more the ambiguity of the monster being in the background.
Yeah, there was a couple of jump scares, but I hate relying on them. Yeah, I hate relying on jump scares, like, I don't know, like,
It made it a lot creepier.
like the Annabelle movie that just came out was just relying on jump scares.
Yeah.
I don't really like that, but I also, when I was making the movie, if you notice, a lot of the times it doesn't show what happens to them. It's for you guys to think. That's what I wanted. So no jump scares, or at least I kind of put it to the minimum.
So considering that none of, like everyone in the film, they aren't actors, aren't paid or anything, how did you convince them?
May I?
I have no clue.
We have nothing better to do with our time. Also, it's not so much of acting, we're just kind of like that. It's
Yeah.
worth noting.
Okay, yeah, I didn't
So-
mention that. So-
you want this? You take that.
My character is essentially my personality on crack. Like, what you
It's just-
saw today, that's right
It's
here
her,
in front
but
of you.
a little bit dumber. A little bit.
So,
I'm laughing at my own joke. I'm such an asshole.
I'm crying.
So when I wrote this movie, I had the people in mind when I was writing it, and I knew that they didn't really know how to act, so I wrote it for them specifically.
It's a good general statement to make. We just generally don't know how to act.
So I purposely wrote the characters for them to where it was almost them, but like a parody of themselves. So that's how I kind of got them to do it, just telling them, hey, I'm writing it for you and for you only, and you should be able to do it, I think.
Who knows?
And here's the thing, I mean, they were all kind of excited to do it at the beginning, and by day 20,
we all wanted to strangle Michael.
oh yeah.
By day 3.
So Michael was the guy that played Nathan, the guy with the glasses, and he was the most difficult to work with because every take was him laughing and
Or breathing.
Or
George's
falling.
breathing, and so or falling, yeah. So, but I mean, it came out good. He actually
Yeah.
did a good job whenever it was edited together. So that's awesome.
It's good.
But yeah, it didn't take much convincing, just a little bit of convincing to get them, but
The free pizza helped.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was food.
so yeah,
provided.
they didn't get paid except by pizza. Every night I tried to feed them, whether it was pizza. Sometimes we got burgers, or there was one time we got chicken. I don't know if you guys were there for the chicken, but it was mostly pizza.
Yeah, no, we weren't there for that.
That's how they got paid, was food. So
It's easy.
anybody else? Any other questions?
So you guys that are cast,
Yep.
You said they'd never acted before or anything.
Nope.
But, I mean, did you do anything in your background, be like any kind of one-act play or any kind of
Better say it.
I don't
anything
want to
previously?
talk about it.
Do it.
So here's the thing.
Enzo has some
Enzo
experience.
used to have a show.
No, that doesn't. No,
He had a
stop
show.
This.
He was on Ellen.
That's stop.
And the
okay,
Today Show.
So, funny story. Okay, so.
Show us the link.
No. Find it yourself.
How old are you? Like 8?
Come find me.
Yeah,
Come
7.
find me after
So
the show.
when I was I'm stuck like this. Okay, so when I was 7, I grew up watching things like Steve Irwin, things like that, and I really wanted to make sort of my own little science show. And so I hate talking about this so much. And so we decided, just my little family decided, decided to make like a little like 2-3 minute YouTube video about me talking about some like praying mantis or something I had caught, and we had put it on YouTube. Cut to a week later when a producer from the Ellen DeGeneres show called us up and was like, "Hey, can you be in LA tomorrow?" It was a thing.
Yeah.
And so for about 5 years then we produced this little web series, basically a little science show. And that's the extent of my acting background. It was basically me rambling about random
It
animals.
was actually a
in front of
professionally
camera.
done show. It was a thing. So
It was
he had
yeah.
he had some experience in front of the camera, so that's why I purposely cast him as the main.
There was an issue though that came with that, is that the format of the show was me looking into the camera, like speaking to the audience. The amount of times this man had to tell me to stop looking at the camera was a lot.
A lot.
It came up a lot.
And he didn't believe me that he was looking at the camera too. He was just so used to looking at the camera,
I've
he
looked
didn't
at
realize
this camera so many times. There's a tiny little camcorder here.
it. Yeah.
So the follow-up to all that is, how hooked are you now? Are you ready for the next one?
Screw it, sure.
Yeah.
One person clapping. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It was somewhere around here.
So, doing all these film festivals, I've met a lot of filmmakers, and I've talked to this one director who actually hired Enzo because of Beneath. He loved Beneath so much that Enzo has a big part in his short film, and I also have a little part in it too. But we're gonna be in a film together because of Beneath. So I think that's kind of cool, right? So I got you another acting gig.
I can be your manager.
How about you, Megan?
Yeah, what have you done with your life?
Not acting.
Would you ever act again?
No.
I can't blame you.
It was a good time, but I'm good.
Yeah. I
You
think
can say that you've done it.
I think she had it the worst, and I think she has a good reason why she
Oh.
doesn't want to act.
Okay.
I'm gonna start off the story for you. I'm gonna set it up a little bit, and then you can finish it.
Please do.
Yes.
Okay, so I can understand why.
Are we speaking about me crying blood?
That's one.
Or
We need context. It wasn't real blood.
it's so much
No,
more
it's not
metal
real
when you
blood.
let them think that it was real blood.
Yeah.
So there's a good reason why she probably doesn't want to act anymore. When we were filming her, I guess it's a death scene whenever it shows her dead on the ground and he's like picking at her eye. We had to shoot that twice. So she was the only one that had to put the blood and the makeup on 3 times. Everybody else did it just twice. But she had to do it 3 times. And the first time we put it on, I didn't even think about it because I'm mean and stupid. But the prosthetic that she had on her face has a thin netting on it to where you can see. And whenever we put all the blood went in her eye. And it doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to go in your eye. It clearly says on the bottle, keep out of your eyes.
It does.
But she had the prosthetic on her face, and the entire time we were shooting, I'm just yelling, action, cut, for like an hour or 2. Like, just trying to shoot that. She was just there lying on the ground, not saying a word. And then we finish filming, and we go back up to the surface to take all the stuff off of her, all the prosthetics, and we take it off, and there's just tears completely down her face. I'm like, are you crying? Like, what's wrong? And she's like, I had blood in my eye and it's really hurting. I'm like, you didn't say anything. Like, why wouldn't you tell me? I know, a trooper, like a true actor, really, right? So, so the entire time she was just sitting there, just.
Not feel comfortable saying anything.
I was like, the show must go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah. So, so yeah, it was bad, and I felt really bad for her. I made somebody cry in the making of this movie, so I was really bummed out about that. But we had to do it again because it didn't look right, and we had to reshoot. So when we reshot it, I went to the store and bought some black tissue paper for gift wrapping, and I glued the black paper inside of the prosthetic so the blood won't flow through it. It's just glued there. So we didn't have that issue, but another issue came this time. So remember, the cave is very hot
It's a little toasty.
and very toasty.
Very humid.
So I'm gonna let you finish this one.
Just in the
Okay.
way to-
So I can't necessarily blame my friend Arkin. He's wearing a full suit and a mask. Now, can I tell them who Arkin was?
Yes.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of who Arkin was, the guy that played the Derek?
Derek, the maintenance
is
guy that
in the
followed him.
suit.
Yeah, he also played
He
Arkin.
was-
So I'm lying on the ground. Derek Arkin is like hunched over me. Well, what I did not know is that during the time he was hunched over me, a bunch of sweat had collected in the mask.
Yes.
So here's the thing. He leans forward and all of the sweat falls out of the mask onto me.
Though all the sweat that was collecting in the chin just went.
So that happened. And then I don't remember if this was the same day. I think it might have been
No,
a
it was a
different
couple.
day.
It was a couple of takes after. It was a couple of takes after.
He's hunched over me, once again, ripping my eye out like one does. And he farted.
right
And at
by.
this point in the bloopers, I'm like, we're not even gonna talk about it. You've done enough. I can't take it. Like,
I'm proud of you for
like-
talking about it.
I was like, we are never shooting this death scene again, JJ. This better look good. I'm done. So no, I'm not acting again.
That was an awesome answer to the question, right?
Is that what all of you bargained for?
That can of worms.
All right. Another question? Anybody? Yeah.
So aside from those mishaps and other things, what were each of y'all's favorite parts to film, or was there a scene you were excited to do or play out?
So what scene was our favorite to make?
That's a hard one.
It is a hard one.
Jerry shot you in the head.
That was pretty good because I
Whenever he
knew
was
after
done.
that it was done. No, I did.
Honestly, I think,
Speaking of the thing.
speaking of the thing, I think one of the last few scenes that you see where we're all standing on the hill in a line and we all have the face makeup on was unexpectedly one of the most fun scenes because we had those prosthetics on with the black tissue paper around, so we can't see.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 4 people who can't see and probably about 2 people who can. So the 4 of us are just walking around, we're like, hey, Marco Polo, and the 2 of them are like, what are you doing? Get back over here, your makeup's like half done. So that was pretty fun.
I think during that I was just laying on the floor.
I don't think you were there.
When you guys
No.
were filming that, was I not?
You didn't have to be there.
Did I not go to
You
that?
didn't.
No, you were
There
not.
was some point I was just laying on the floor. I just kind of give it up on the hill.
So yeah, that
Is that-
that day we were shooting, you weren't even there.
Michael, the guy who played Nathan,
Because I remember I was
fell
there for
asleep
Rachel
during
and Brianna and someone else putting
On the
makeup on
cave
them
floor,
on
maybe
the
you
straight
were.
up.
Maybe you
I
were.
was there, JJ.
I'm sorry. It was a long shoot.
I know. I'm trying to think of my favorite thing.
crawling
I
up
mean-
over.
Crawling up that one scene in the
Oh
hallway
yeah.
with where Michael and Nathan and my character kind of peeked up over the thing. Is it safe now? That whole thing. How long would you say that took, JJ?
I mean, it was actually 2 different nights. Of
I know.
Doing that. We had to move on to something else because it was taking too much time. So a lot. It was, again, Nathan was hard to work with. So every time they would pop up from on top of the hill, he would be like. Like, he'd be just overacting and then laugh at himself for overacting.
It's like a prairie dog. I will say a lot of those scenes in the moment were really annoying to deal with in one way or another, but watching the outtakes is
You would have never thought
it's wildly entertaining.
Yeah, you never thought how well it would have come out pieced together, right?
Yeah,
From all the
that
stuff
too.
we had to go through.
That too.
I think my favorite scene that we shot or to shoot was the camera flash scene, her death.
That was cool.
That took
it was
a
it
hot
was
minute to figure out,
It
though.
was that's what was fun about it to me was the challenge of trying to figure out how to do it, because the actual camera flash doesn't light up the shot enough. So we had to figure out how to make the flash go off while also lighting up the shot, but when we light up the shot, it has to turn off exactly when the flash goes off. So.
And figuring out how to make the flashlight look broken.
Oh yeah,
How to make it
dropping
turn
the
off.
flashlight on the ground, making it turn off. Yeah, that was hard. We had to just loosen the flashlight and just hope that when we dropped it, it would turn off. So that was fun too. But what we ended up doing for the camera flash was we literally just got 2 mag lights and just pointed them at the walls. And as soon as the camera went off, they didn't hit them right when the flash went off, but like half a second after the flash goes off, they hit them. And I know that sounds weird, but trust me, if you did it at the same time as the flash, it didn't work at all. So they had to hit it. 2 of the crew members had to hit it like half a second after the flash, and then make sure that it went off right when the flash went off. So that it was fun to try to figure that out, and then also the camera was just giving us problems because it's pitch black, and
It was trying to focus on something.
It couldn't focus on anything because
like,
it was just black. So every time we tried to take a picture, it wouldn't go. So we had to figure out a way to fix that too. So I think that one was really fun and challenging. I'm not sure if it was fun, but it was definitely a challenge. Another one was when we would just run backwards with the characters were running toward me, and we had people running behind me too. It sucked, but it was a challenge to figure out how to do it, and I'm glad that it looks good on the screen. But yeah, I think that was my favorite scene though, was the camera flash. So that was a good question. I like that.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you plan on making cameos in all your other future movies, like you did in this one?
So I don't know. I'm not a fan of acting. I don't like acting. It's okay. I'll probably do it more. Maybe if I make another Beneath movie, which I guess there is going to be. Maybe that character can come back, like trying to get an application to work, and they turn him down. He keeps getting turned down or
Door
something.
keeps getting slammed in his face.
Yeah. Maybe I could do something funny like that. I don't know, but maybe I would definitely keep making special appearances because it's fun. All right. Any other questions? Before we finish this off. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. This has been so much fun. Unreal to me. Thank you guys for making this awesome. Like I said, this has gone all over the country. And actually today, I just got a notification. Breaking news. We just got accepted into Louisville, Kentucky. Reels of the Dead. So we're still getting into these things, and it's crazy. It's really, really crazy. So thank you guys for being a part of this and making it so much fun. I mean, we traveled 4 hours to get here, and you guys made it worth it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing it to Kingsville.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys. You have a good night. Drive safe.
Alright, so. Wait.